Good day, Zoe. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Operational issue at multiple services, Northern Virginia. I think everything's mostly back, right? Magandang umaga, Raymond. Good to see you. Hello, Gate C25. Boarding will begin shortly for your flight to the place you're going for. Going to? Going for? Going once? We seem to observe recovery across all AWS services, and instance launches are succeeding across multiple availability zones in the U.S. East 1 regions. Hooray! PHL delayed flight. I see. Yeah. So just doing a good old fashioned ask me anyone. That's anything. I know. Whatever you got. What do you got? It could be about this. I mean, I don't know everything about what's going on with the AWS thing, but I did dig into it this morning for DTNS. If you haven't listened to that, Rob and I talk through what happened and when and why. The short version is there was a load balancing system that went out of whack. What did they say? An internal subsystem was impacted by the network load balancer health checks. Now, those health checks could be related to routing because earlier they had said something about DNS. Where did they say DNS? Before they started talking about EC2, they talked about DNS resolving the DynamoDB service endpoints related to DNS resolution of the DynamoDB API endpoint. So it could have been that they thought it was that, but that was actually caused by the load balancing, not resolving stuff. They still haven't said, but they are increasing the rate of SQS polling. So that's good. Lambda customers and EC2 customers seem to be the most affected. So they seem to have narrowed it down to those things. Have a safe travel, Clinton. Hope you go safely and well. Answering Jason Howell because we are going to get some coverage from him for something. So that will be on the Wednesday show. We're coordinating when he and I are going to talk about it. So glad to have Jason around doing stuff like that. It's extremely helpful to have someone who's plugged into that stuff all the time. Anyway, if you got a question, throw it in the chat. Tomorrow will be emails. Today is just office hours. And I intend to look at stories like I always do. The Growly Bear is here. Everybody's pouring in. All right. Google will reportedly list 15 superfans test. 15 superfans test unreleased Pixel phones. Really? Google hasn't officially confirmed this. Bloomberg says it's reviewed official rules for a contest called the Trusted Tester Program. Sign an NDA, agree to use the phones in special protective cases designed to disguise them. Yeah, that certainly won't go wrong. Xubuntu download section injection threatens users. Oh, man. So if you're getting Xubuntu, Xubuntu, whatever you call it, be careful. Looks like there might be a supply chain attack on it. There's always something in it. Ask me anything. Anything you want. Tom, where did you get that shirt? Tom, do you think tacos are a sandwich? Tom, is water your favorite drink? Happy AWS Down Day to you as well, Howard. Billboard's Hot 100 Top 10 Countdown. It's all Taylor. Actually, it's probably not all Taylor. It's probably just mostly Taylor. Oh, that page is just full of ads. I'm not going to show you that. Actor, oh, if you don't want to be spoiled. Oh, they don't tell us. It was a story about who's going to play the Cowardly Lion in Wicked for Good, but then it doesn't actually tell you. So it's not any good. That's not good. All right, let me go to my personal feeds. Anything else there? Hello, Sang. Disney announces 24-hour Disney Celebrates America simulcast on July 4th weekend. Yay. All right. I'm going to pull that one back for now. We've got one question. So, folks, you got to get on this. Zoe Brings Bacon asks, Tom, where did you get that shirt? That was one of my example questions, but thank you, Zoe. I shouldn't have used that as an example question because I don't remember where I got this shirt. I think it's Banana Republic. Maybe. It probably says. Yeah, I think it's Banana Republic. It's old. It's about 7 or 8 years old. But still stylish because it's retro. Sang, oh, wrong one. Sang says, Tom, can you talk about Shohei and Ohtani? One of our favorite jokes about Shohei Ohtani, and for the few of you who don't know Shohei Ohtani are like, wait, what is that? I know that name. He is a Japanese baseball player who plays for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are going to the World Series. He is the only player in baseball that pitches and hits on a regular basis and at the highest level. So, for example, in the 4th game of the National League Championship Series, he struck out 10 batters and hit 3 home runs. People just don't do that. So he's an amazing player. They call him a two-way player because most of the time pitchers never bat. Most of the time hitters never pitch. Hitters only pitch in extreme situations where they've run out of pitchers or something. Pitchers only bat in extreme situations where they run out of pinch hitters. So our favorite joke these days is one Eileen found, I think, on Twitter that was saying, man, the cost of living is so high in Los Angeles, even Shohei Ohtani has to do 2 jobs. Get it? Because he's a pitcher and a hitter. See, I had to give you all that backstory because if you don't know baseball, you wouldn't know that. Raymond says, if you could be CEO of a tech company that focuses on computing hardware, which among the choices here would you like to focus on and why? CPU, GPU, battery, or storage? Battery. I don't know if it's the right answer. Probably not. Probably if I focused on CPU or GPU, I could actually increase the battery life, which is really the strategy that everybody's using. But man, if I could create a battery technology that actually increased battery life without having to improve the efficiency of the processor, I could sell that battery to everyone. So that's why I say battery right off the top. But I'm guessing it's more about you're not a tech company that's making battery technology. You're just trying to optimize. Do you optimize for battery life, for storage, or for CPU or GPU power? I think I still optimize for battery life, but I probably do it by improving the performance and efficiency of the CPU. Depends on what hardware I'm making, though. I say CPU when I'm talking about phones, mobile phones. I think still CPU over GPU, but you got to talk about MPU and all of that. So I would probably go for performance and efficiency, but battery life is everything, you know? Howard wants to know, did you get the shirt from a drawer or from a hanger? Excellent question, Howard. From a hanger. I only have t-shirts in drawers or long sleeve shirts that are non-collared and sweaters and hoodies. All my collared shirts are hung for their crimes. Ambassador Domo says, Colman Domingo? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm looking up to see if it's Wicked for Good's Cowardly Lion. Oh, yeah. No, they've announced it all over the place. Why were they being all cagey in that one? Yeah, look at this. That one story that I was looking at was all cagey, but this is NBC News. Coleman Domingo, Variety, Wicked for Good, guess Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo. It's Coleman Domingo. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Ambassador Domo. Appreciate that. Oh, Binary Spiral, I am sorry. He's a Brewers fan. And Howard Yermish is a little bitter, but Shohei Ohtani is a generational player. He says, if my team was going to get cooked, at least it was by a Michelin chef. It was an amazing game. Yeah, it's insane game. Ohtani, while pitching and striking out 10 people, hit one of those home runs out of Dodger Stadium. Not just over the fence, out of the entire stadium. Some guy was sitting in the little plaza they have eating something, and the ball landed in a bush near him. Ah, yes. The other joke is that Ohtani will only be the greatest hitter once he faces Shohei. All right. Getting away from the Brewers, Binary Spiral says, look at the difference between M1 and Intel CPUs and laptops. My OG M1 laptop lasts for 9 hours of work. Oh my gosh, so true. My laptop is 4 years old. It's got an M1 in it. And I'm just now starting to have the barest inkling that maybe I might want to replace this laptop. Because every once in a while, the performance is not exactly super fast. I used to replace a computer, not even laptop, right? Desktop, every 18 months, 12 to 18 months. I've had this for 4 years. And I'm just now, you know what it is? It's not even the performance. It's that I have run into limits on what the ports can do that have been updated, you know, the kinds of accessories it can support. Nothing I can't work my way around with proper dongles and adapters and all of that. But it's something you don't even have to think about on the modern versions. DeGrowly Bear, why is Tom being enigmatic? I don't know. Why am I? I'm just going to leave it like that for as long as I can. Howard bears that up. I've got an M1 Pro laptop still screaming fast. Indeed. All right, Zoe's got another one. When I replace my desktop PC, should I get a Windows machine or Apple? I have most of the other Apple devices. Well, then you should probably get Apple. If you live in the Apple ecosystem, you get a lot of benefits from having your desktop be in that same ecosystem. I think Windows machines are quite capable, and in some ways with Copilot doing some interesting things that you cannot do on macOS. But as of right now, as of this second, this may not be true next year. I don't know. But as of right now, if you live in the Apple ecosystem, there are enough things made easier by having Apple on the desktop that you really aren't missing out. When I'm using macOS, I never think, I better turn on my Windows machine to do that. I do have that happen rarely, but occasionally when I'm using my Windows machine, like, well, if I switch over to macOS, this might be easier. And that's just because they have that system lock-in. Stealth Dave says, my M1 Air is my primary video editing machine. Thank you to Growly Bear for the applause on my Enigma answer. Stoic Squirrel, my M1 Pro's good too. I'm going to wait for an OLED screen or some other major improvement. Yeah, I was tempted when they announced the new M5, but there's not that much new with it. And it's a 14-inch and I have a 16-inch. And I've occasionally thought maybe I should step down to a 14-inch because I don't use the laptop screen all that often. But when I do, it is nice to have it 16 inches. And as big as it is, I still don't mind lugging it around. So I think I'm going to wait until they upgrade a 16-inch MacBook Pro and then see. I still might not upgrade at that point, but that's probably going to happen next year. Oh, I may or may not have just rolled my chair over my M1 Air and broke the screen. Oh no, upgrade needed. Bad fake. That's funny. Stealth Dave, well put. Apple products are like Garanimals. They work best together. You know, I never got Garanimals. I think maybe my mom bought me a Garanimals shirt once, but she didn't buy me anything else. Whole idea, if you don't know Garanimals, I don't know if it was anywhere outside the U.S. or even outside the Midwest, to be honest. But Garanimals were, it was easy to match everything because you just bought, the tag would have an animal on it. And so if you bought a shirt that had a lion on it, then you just bought all the other clothes that had the lion and they'd all match. Made things easier for mom. Binary Spiral, I game on Windows PC and looking at ditching Microsoft on it for Linux now. I value privacy and I'm tired of Microsoft doing shady things. Yeah, if you want the most control over your machine and you want the most privacy on your machine, some flavor of Ubuntu or another Linux distro is probably right for you. Oh, Howard, thank you. Okay, yeah, this is a good update. So anybody who's been following the saga of my book Synced, the previously on is that the publisher went bankrupt and none of us got anything. I didn't get any money. People who paid didn't get the book. But I did get the email addresses of everybody who had backed it on Unbound. And last week, I actually finally sent out the EPUB and PDF of the text to all the people who had backed it. Some people didn't get it, I guess because their email system blocked it. Some people used weird email addresses. But it seems like most people got it. And Howard says, read a few chapters of Synced on the plane. Thank you for making that available. You're welcome. I'm glad you read a few chapters of it. Nick with a C has a question for Zoe. Can you put up with Mac OS? She says, my current desktop is Windows. It would be the final non-Apple thing that goes. That would be an argument for keeping Windows, is that you can stay conversant with how Windows works if you do that. Also, you save money. You can probably get as powerful of a PC for a little less. It's never apples to apples. Ha ha ha. You can never find an actual Windows desktop or laptop that does exactly the same specs as an Apple one. But when you get close enough to the things you find important, you can usually save money by getting Windows. Batfink went with the 14. Oh, and Stoic Squirrel has a 14, but thinking going up to 16 next time. G. James B. has a 47-inch laptop. Oh, I suppose that must not mean laptop. Yeah, my desktop display is 34 inches. It was huge when I first got it. Now it's starting to feel small. Is there a limit to how big laptops or desktop monitors will get? Because I've got the curved, widescreen. Got one of those Dells. Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. It's probably good for not everybody needs this, but for somebody like Zoe, it might be good to have one device that still uses Windows, just to be aware. Oh, sorry, G. James B. corrects. It's 49 inches. Howard's mom wouldn't buy him Garanimals either. They were expensive, I think. They weren't the cheapest ones. And my mom was like, I can match stuff. I don't need to spend extra. Yeah. Use your desktop machine a lot and it has 2 monitors. I mean, Apple can support 2 monitors. That's not a problem. I get the number confused with the 57-inch in waiting. Yeah. And Nick points out that Martin has an M4 Mac Mini that he likes that can do 2 displays. And Mac Minis aren't that expensive. They're actually not that much more expensive. If you go with a Mac Mini and you've got keyboard, mouse, monitor that you like, yeah, it can be pretty good. Stealth Dave points out if you go Linux, Wine is surprisingly good at playing Windows games on Mac. Oh, he's saying on Mac. Wine is surprisingly good at playing Windows games on Mac. Crossover makes an excellent product, and the Heroic Launcher has a great interface for free. But still, Adam 12 and I agree, you're probably overall getting a better bang for your buck with PCs. But there are times when Apple makes more sense, especially when you're talking Mac Minis. It really depends on exactly what you want. But speaking broadly, I'm with you. You can get more bang for your buck with Windows. What? Ambassador Domo, I might have to fact check this. Garanimals launched in 1972 and is currently owned by Berkshire Hathaway, who owned Fruit of the Loom. Oh, so Fruit of the Loom makes Garanimals. Oh my gosh, you're going to love this. I did Garanimals in news, and the first response is Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway spelled out where tariffs were hitting it. Squishmallow's parent company? They're the Squishmallow and Fruit of the Loom. There you go. Wow. Adam 12, you went down from 16-inch to 14-inch, but you use a 50-inch TV for monitor. Yeah, I'm using this 34-inch TV as my monitor most of the time. That's why I don't really care what's on there. I actually have it set up as a second monitor. Here, let's do an inception. I'll show you my monitor setup. Extra camera. Yeah, that's the one. So, whoa. There's my laptop. See? So I got the laptop. I actually have another monitor up there, but it's dead. It died. I need to get rid of it. And then the Dell monitor right there. Stealth Dave has a 13.3-inch Air, which is great for travel, and plug it into a dock for bigger monitors. I know it's great for travel, but I just don't mind shoving that 16-inch laptop into my bags. My bags can accommodate it. I don't know if I can grab that easily. I guess I can. Oh, yeah, they're both. So this is my laptop bag. This laptop bag has space for a 16-inch monitor. You can stick it right in there. It's got a little padded pocket for it. And then I need to zip this up so the cables don't all fall out. But then I have a backpack. I end up using the backpack more often, which has a laptop slot in the back, which fits my monitor. And I don't generally have a problem with it. 27-inch 4K display with Nick with a C. Yeah. Can be just fine. So he says, I may just move this Windows machine over to a bit of space at the end of the desk. It still works adequately. That's a great way to do it. If you were to decide to go Mac OS, keep the Windows machine and just, be able to use it for stuff. Oh, look at CPOT's using the X-Real glasses for that 86-inch screen, which is advertised as 102 inches. You can make it 102 inches. It just doesn't look that good. I wonder if there'll be an M6 Mini next year. My guess is yes, Nick. I would imagine so. We'll probably get all the M5, the rest of the M5 stuff early. So like the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and then mid-year-ish, maybe start to see M6 stuff. When did we last have? When was the last Mac Mini update? The last hardware update for the Mac Mini was November last year. And they haven't put an M5, so we might get an M5 Mac Mini actually early in the year. 57-inch screen is equivalent to 2 4K displays without bezels. Oh, and Sorak with the old reliable, if you can get the enterprise version, do that because they strip out all the dumb crap. Not everybody can get it. It's not impossible to get, but just your mileage may vary on how easy that is for you. But it's good advice if you can. Batfink, you posted a screenshot on Discord. Oh, I thought you were kidding. He said, of my sad-looking M1 Air screen. Is it okay if I show that? I don't know how to capture that, actually, but I'm still having the thing where I can't watch TV video if I have screen capture on. That's so sad. I don't want to dox you accidentally either. Not my monitor, but Batfix monitor. Oh, you mean that monitor, the HP monitor. Oh, you guys noticed the cheese grater Matt. I'm just catching up to that part of the that part of the chat now. Yeah, that's Eileen's old Mac Pro that I pulled the drives out of earlier this year to look for some stuff for Brian, because she used to edit Scam School on that thing. And then I needed something to put that monitor on, and the empty carcass was sitting there, so I used it. All right. If battery life is a major concern, the M Series Macs are the way to go. That is true. They're so good with that. Yeah, I need to catch back up with you guys. You guys are doing great with the chats. Love it. Yes, your monitor. LOL. There we go. I am caught up. Hooray. Good stuff. What does Buyer's Guide say? I can't click on that. Nick with a C. Here, I'll put it up here, though, so I can keep an eye on it. All right, Buyers. I can type this in. I'm going to type in a URL the old-fashioned way. Oh, it's the Mac Rumors Buyer's Guide, of course. All right. Well, that's just empty. There. Add that. The Mac Rumors Buyer's Guide for Mac Mini. This has been around for like 20 years. Days since last release, 356. Neutral, mid-product cycle. So yeah, they might skip the M5. They might. Yes, keep typing more into chat. Keep me on my toes. These are great. You asked for questions. When you are live streaming, do you feel the need to get caught up with all the posts from the different sources? Yeah, you know what? That's a good reminder. Nothing like a little DNS snafu to remind me of the DNS haiku. It's not DNS. There's no way it's DNS. It was DNS. Thank you, Jason, for posting that 25 minutes ago. Nobody in Patreon saying anything. They're all hanging out, but nobody's saying anything. I see Rob in there, though. Yeah, so I do try to keep up on all of them. Yeah, we touched on AWS, Sunny Rabbit, but if you got questions about it, we can expand on it. It's basically, it sounds like it was a load balancing error, and what Rob and I were talking about on DTNS is still what they're saying, which is that it affected DTNS, but they haven't explained how yet. Last thing they posted was that just after we went live, service recovery across all AWS services continues to improve. We continue to reduce throttles. We will provide another update at 145. Lambda invocation errors have fully recovered and function errors continue to improve. We have scaled up the rate of pulling SQS queues. So it seems like everything's on its way. It's impacted still, but it's still getting better and better all the time. Oh, G. James B., I'm sorry to hear that. Please don't have to sell your 57-inch monitor for a mortgage. Badfink's been on a work call on AWS all day. I imagine you are not alone in that. Oh, Binary Spiral, that was you. Sorry. And you're welcome for the update, Sunny Rabbit. Took down Wordle. Oh, no. Howard took the day off and was planning to update my Eros, but with the outage, I decided not to poke the bear. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, why do we rely on AWS so much? Its uptime is still pretty darn good, relatively speaking. It's always US East 1. That's what Rob and I were talking about today. Like, it is in 2020, 2021, 2023, 2025. So they're getting to be every 2 years instead of every year. But it's always that same region. Wordle was affected, Zoe, I know. Oh, and it's Diwali. So you got reduced support staff. Perfect storm. Don't tell Tom I'm just browsing apple.com mindlessly now. We won't tell. All right. Binary Spiral's got the questions. Why do we have so much crap in East 1? It makes no sense. East 2, West, somewhere else. I wonder that too. Because it's not like East 2 or West don't have outages. There was a West outage that have impacted some stuff not that long ago, year and a half ago, but it did not impact things as much as the US East ones do, because they impact Europe as well and even beyond. Grammarly was still affected. Let's see, is it back? Open Grammarly. Oh, it's back. Okay. Yeah, I had horrible spelling today because of this outage. Greg's.com was down. What? You can set up cross-region failovers to mitigate situations like this. I imagine a lot of people did, and that's why it wasn't worse than it was. Yeah, that probably is part of the explanation, Stoic Squirrel. East 1 was the default, so there's just probably a lot of stuff that was set up there that nobody bothered to go change. And also because Ashburn, Virginia is the center of the universe. Duolingo was down? It wasn't down for me, thank goodness. Was CrowdStrike or this bigger? I think CrowdStrike was bigger because this has been mitigated faster. This is probably the AWS one is probably affecting more sites, but for less amount of time and fixable more easily. I was checking in to a hotel in Milwaukee more than a week after CrowdStrike, and the guy was coming into the hotel to fix their servers from the CrowdStrike bug a week on. So yeah, I think CrowdStrike had a bigger effect. Was Google's purchase of YouTube Google's smartest and best acquisition? JPEG84. No, DoubleClick. Google buying DoubleClick was their smartest and best acquisition. We may not like it because it has turned Google into a money-grubbing advertising-based company in many ways. We always wondered, can Google make DoubleClick good, or will DoubleClick make Google evil? And it was probably a little of both, but I'd say DoubleClick has made them gigantic. Now, YouTube is a very good acquisition and arguably their second best acquisition. That's a great question, though. Thank you for that. The reverb mic. See, the problem with East 1 is it's default in our stars. Yeah, I bet things like CrowdStrike was way bigger. In effect, not even arguable. But it may have touched fewer. Yeah, no, it was worldwide. I think it was way bigger in every way. You're right. Nothing can compare with the PlayStation Network hack. Not even CrowdStrike, Stoic Squirrel? Ooh, we've got a debate brewing. Google's best acquisition was your data, which they needed DoubleClick to make money off of. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know when other countries are getting Sora. I have no influence whatsoever, unfortunately. But I imagine Europe will get it last because of all the regulations around AI. It takes longer to implement stuff to abide by those regulations, and companies are a little spiteful, so they don't rush it. I thought Alphabet made Google a giant. If you had the chance to go back in time and save one defunct tech company by correcting their mistakes, which one would you choose to revive and why? One defunct tech company. I'll have to think about that one and come back because I know I have an answer in here. Maybe Palm. Maybe Palm. I really liked Palm and I was sad. Yeah, PSN was down for months, but I don't think it impacted as many people. So it was a longer outage than even CrowdStrike, but it didn't affect as many people. I mean, people's Windows machines got locked. They could not use them. RIM's another possibility, Batfink. Stoic Squirrel agrees with me on Palm. Yes, Binary Spiral, Palm. Yeah, I loved Palm. I love the Palm Edge. Actually, I didn't even love Palm as so much as the Palm OS because I started with the handspring stuff. Handspring visor. Look at you, Batfink. Jinx. Yeah, the Palm Pre. I mean, you say if the Palm Pre had been a better phone, it was a great phone. I'm not even sure why it didn't do better. I've started using Perplexity's Comet browser. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Seems just like Chrome for the most part. It's value, according to Jason Howell and others who love it, is in the use of it, in what you do with it. You have to learn what it does and then make it do it. It's not, otherwise it just does look like a browser. That's what he's told me anyway. Oh, 3DFX is another good one, Raymond. Yeah. It'd be nice to have corrected their issues. Oh, Rdio, the music service. I love, you'd say radio, but I say Rdio so you know what I'm talking about. Ah, the Sony Clie. Yeah, I think maybe they were dealt a bad hand, or maybe they just didn't know how to market better. But yeah, Palm Pre could have competed. I agree. It was a good phone. It won Best of CES. It was a great operating system. In fact, LG still uses that operating system and that Blades metaphor and everything with it. The Microsoft kin. Yes, if only we could have saved the kin and the Zune while we're at it. Yeah, Nokia's mobile phone division. I go back and forth on whether that was needed to die, though. It was kind of a lumbering dinosaur at the time. I think Nokia might have been smart to unload it on Microsoft. Commodore. Yeah. I like the Commodore brand. I'm not sure. CPM. Wow. Ambassador Domo got the Palm Pre 2. J. James B would resurrect plays for sure. No DRMs. Yeah. There's been some brands like that I just held on for a long time, even though they were dying. And I very much miss them. Rdio was one of them too. I'm just looking around to see if I see any dead computers laying around that remind me of that. There are fewer than you think of those kinds of really great tech companies that were doing the right thing that went out of business. More often than not, they just... Marie Domingo loved the Clie as well. More often than not, the tech companies that go out of business just weren't good at what they were doing. We just don't hear about that because that doesn't make the news. Company that made bad product goes out of business, but that's the vast majority of them. It just makes it feel like the good ones go out of business because those make a bigger splash when they do. Bill Hurd has prototypes of an LCD that Commodore didn't make that could have kept Commodore relevant for years longer. Is the Nook still a thing? Oh, good question. The Nook e-reader. I feel like somebody bought them and makes them for Barnes & Noble, like bought the division. But yeah, you can still buy a Nook right now. The Books. That's who it was. Books took over the Nuke stuff. Heathkit. Yeah. I have several dead computers in my collection as well, G. James B. Oh, Sega consoles. Yeah. Arguably, though, maybe they were better focusing on games. TiVo. I mean, TiVo to me, like, lived a useful life. It's like sometimes it's sad when something dies, but it's time. It's TiVo's time. I just don't think that, yeah. Commodore's fans just bought the company. Well, they bought the IP and I have pre-ordered a Commodore 64, one of the new ones with the USB and HDMI. We'll see how it goes. See if I ever get it. Sega Dreamcast was ahead of its time. Yeah. But I guess the fact that they couldn't make it work tells me that they were better to focus on games. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. TiVo was a wonderful bridge to the streaming age. Like, we needed it to have the idea of binging and being able to watch things when we wanted. But at this point, there are people like Kuya, who you can pry your TiVo from their dead hands. None of the cable boxes or streaming services match its UI speed and simplicity. There are definitely a few of those still out there, and people who want to use Tableau or something like it, or even do recordings with streaming. But for most people, being able to pop open a Roku, type in a title, have it show up, and then watch it is really all they needed. And so a lot of the usefulness of TiVo in the mass mind has been taken over by streaming. So it is now a niche product, and it belongs with good stewards like Tableau to make it for enthusiasts like Kuya. I wonder if they'll bring back the Amiga brand too. I don't know if they got the Amiga brand as part of that. Oh, the Slingbox. Yeah. Batfink, that's another one like TiVo. Like, we needed it to be able to watch our cable on the internet. But again, I'm sure there are people who are doing Slingbox like stuff who are enthusiasts and like geeking around with stuff. But for most people, for the vast majority of people, they can just use the app that comes with whatever service they subscribe to, or get a home run. A home run box is basically the modern equivalent that can do that with your over-the-air stuff. Batfink uses the Tableau. Nice. I loved OS 2. I never really spent enough time with it. See, I'm part of the problem. Oh yeah, Slingbox with the TiVo was magic, G. James B. Shows that are not available or disappear because of licenses does not happen when you've recorded broadcasting cable shows. Yes, I think the incidence of that happening is exaggerated quite a bit. Usually if a show disappears from one service, it shows up somewhere else. It almost never disappears entirely. And I've definitely had accidents where TiVo recordings disappeared. And I know that's also rare. So I kind of feel like those are equal. And it's more of a matter of taste. Like, I want to be in control of maintaining my library rather than being reliant on someone else to maintain it. Oh, GPEG84 what was the one that relied on over-the-air TV and got sued out of business. Oh, we were just talking about it the other day. Defunct over-the-air DVR company. Somebody probably knows it. Aereo. Thank you, Stoic Squirrel. Yeah, Aereo. Stealth Dave owned 3 TiVos. Sold the last one on Facebook Marketplace last week, a Series 3 that worked well when he bought it. And Howard Yermish was it was Aereo. Thank you, Stoic Squirrel. The team photo is just at a jaunty angle, Nick. It actually hasn't fallen. It's the shape of a home run plate. So it doesn't really stay on it doesn't really stay up because it's on the point. Currently, there is a battle to keep encryption from crushing over-the-air channels. Yeah, they want to do the new broadcast standard in the U.S. anyway that would allow them to encrypt the channels and deliver personalized advertisements and stuff like that. That's part of my green screen, correct, that I just reached in and adjusted things. Oh, I don't remember the dog's name. What was the dog's name? The 2600 book, something I won from Scott Johnson. What else is in that bookcase? So much. That'll be an entire office hours one of these days. I'll just pull everything off the bookshelf. You know what? That's a really good question, Stoic Squirrel. How long will over-the-air TV last? I'll say, well, I don't know. Radio's still going. I don't know. 50 years maybe. Like, people are just attached to it. It's good for emergency broadcasting. It'll dwindle. There'll be major networks that won't have over-the-air broadcasts anymore before over-the-air goes away altogether. I imagine people will keep it going as a public service for a while. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on here. I'm sorry if I'm skipping things, but you guys are being great. Yes, he spawned. Thank you for asking. It's a very good question. The bookcase is fastened to the wall in case of an earthquake. Yeah, I can see that it will probably dwindle. And yes, some services will just avoid any issues with the FCC by going straight to streaming. E. Clay Thomason, which book would you like me to try pulling to see if a secret chamber opens up? No TV is free, GPEG. You got to watch ads. Yeah, that makes sense, Keith. Radio is basically, we know we're dying, but we can still make money. And radio is transitioning to streaming, so they may be able to do something like that. I think free over the air mostly becomes free streaming, GPEG, but some television stations will continue to broadcast even after all the entertainment has moved to streaming. That's where my head's at. Because, yeah, there's plenty of free online TV like Pluto and such. Yes, Seven the Good Dog has investigated this bookcase and found it lacking treats. So he went right to my trash can instead. CodeHerder points out that heathkit.com still exists, but the kits are a little pricey. Well, and when you got to put in the work yourself to assemble them, you think they should be cheaper. Is the Oxford Dictionary strapped to the wall? That's a good point. No, it is not. And it's on the front here, so I'll stay out of its way. I don't know if radio is going to go away soon altogether. Like, yes, we may see a collapse in radio stations and a bunch of radio stations disappear soon. But again, I think people will keep broadcast going even if it doesn't make sense. I wonder if we'll get free internet broadcasts, free over-the-air 5G, 6G, 7G, whatever, as a replacement for it. That I see as the out, because yes, all the entertainment, all the business on over-the-air is going to go to streaming. That's going to happen in 10 years. It's already happening now, and it's going to be done in 10 years. Let's say that. But there will still be reasons to keep broadcasting going. And I wonder if they take that and say, let's mandate that internet companies that broadcast wireless internet, like telephone operators right now, must offer a free service, and phones must receive that free service so you can get emergency information. I could see that happening at some point. And that would address GPEG's question. And it could address Stoic Squirrels, because you could just get service in your car. Or maybe your car becomes packaged in with your internet service that you get for your phone. Always pull the book with the flattest color to open the bookcase. Which one? Tell me which one. I'll pull it. We'll see what happens. All of them. No, I'm not going to pull all of them. Not today. Maybe another day. Is my coffee supply earthquake proof? Well, it's distributed. I have coffee in my earthquake kit, if that helps. Heathkit.com is down because of the AWS outage. Oh, no. I think my Tavala meals are being delivered now. I listen to local talk radio as a podcast. I keep my car antenna for my Bluetooth to radio device. Interesting. They're not hiring new people at radio stations. Yeah, I'm not saying radio stations in large part aren't going to go out of business. I think you're right about that. Do you think that availability and pricing of spectrum might be what pushes broadcast TV towards streaming? No, I think it's just because of that's where everybody is. I don't think it has anything to do with spectrum. It's just that's where all the eyeballs and ears are. But I think it's the idea of spectrum could be what allows a government to tell a mobile internet operator what to do. Oh, I like that. Back in the 90s, we were hooking up modems to ham radio, connecting to BBSs over the air. Yeah, the emergency broadcast system test could live on through emergency broadcast to your phone. Ah, Kuya wants to know what's in the cassettes. All right. Take a look. Olivia Newton-John's Physical. Stars on Long Play. A DAC cassette, blank cassette, which is too faded to read, but I'm pretty sure it has some Commodore 64 or TI-99 programs recorded on it. An advanced cassette of Laika and the Cosmonauts' Instruments of Terror from February 1st, 1994. The Wannabes, an Austin band, That's Amore. The Tom Merritt Anthology, 1986 to 1989. These are all air checks from when I was on the air at WGEL. A audio recording of my junior high play of Tom Sawyer. And the Back to the Future soundtrack. I think I just pulled these out from a box when I needed an example cassette. And I just stuck them all there. I wasn't even sure what was in them. I don't think I looked at what was in them till just now. Yeah, you know what, Kuya? As soon as I saw that one, I was like, oh, I need to put that in a cassette player and listen to it. I need to digitize that if that cassette still plays. All right. That was awesome. No original mixtape for Eileen. No, those are CDs. I do have mixed CDs that I made. We met post cassette mixtape times. Actually, I might have made one, but yeah, you can burn CDs by then. Ooh, why do American radio stations go by letters and not frequencies? They go by both. The letters are the call sign to identify who's broadcasting on that frequency. So you'll often hear KMOX 1120 AM. And that means you're listening to the station KMOX, which is broadcasting on 1120. What is it on the AM side? Amplitude megahertz? Yeah. So they do both. And you can move your radio station to a different frequency and keep your call letters. Yes, K or W based on the side of the river, except with a few exceptions. So I lived on the Mississippi. We had both Ks and Ws. There were some Ws in St. Louis because their transmitter was on the Illinois side. Also, there was KDKA in Pittsburgh, which had gotten its assignment when the Appalachians were the division. And then they moved it to the Mississippi, but they got to keep KDKA for a long time. Yeah, we have multiple stations on the same frequency, but because one is in California and one is New York, they don't interfere with each other. So the letters help to distinguish that. Thank you, Stealth Dave. That's good. W is east and K is west. Don't ask me why. I don't know that one. 105.9, The Cat. You're listening to KACL right now instead of me? But then how are you chatting with me? WTAF radio. Oh, yeah. Let's find it. It's in Indiana. Television broadcasting station in Marion, Indiana until 1969. Nobody uses that call sign anymore? I guess not. Oh, Frasier reference. Duh. Okay. I'm too slow. Too distracted by all these chats. Anyone miss the Boxy Box? Marie, that's a blast from the past. I don't know if I still have my Boxy Box around. That was a TV streaming device that was pretty good because it had, in the earliest days when Roku didn't have everything yet, it had everything. And it was angular. It wasn't, even though it was called the Boxy Box, it was like kind of offset. So it was like a diamond. If a station was in the river, would its call letter start with Q? No, Canada uses Q for its radio stations. KC95 is still around, indeed. real rock radio is still, they still have the Hog. They still have Rocktober. The rock you grew up with. Alrighty. Let's take a look at the feeds. Oh, get rid of that camera. And see what has happened while we've been chatting. These were great. So good chatting with you guys. I worked for 2 radio stations with 3 call letters, WGN and WLS. I know both those stations, Keith, and have listened to them. This chat is an embarrassment of riches. Why can't I get this to show up? All right, here we go. Google reportedly searching for 15-pixel superfans. We talked about that earlier. I guess that's a big deal. Ars Technica is doing it too. All right, I'm going to mark that for possibility tomorrow. New California law generates hope. Fan drops lawsuit against LeBron James. Apple adds a toggle to make liquid glass less glassy. They were just talking about this on the NosillaCast. Lets you tint liquid glass elements of iOS 26 so that they're more opaque. Clear or tinted. Oh no. I have to text this to Allison. They were talking about all the ways you can adapt liquid glass. Of course, this comes out today. Yeah, so it's there's a setting in liquid glass, clear or tinted. Choose your preferred look for liquid glass. Clear is more transparent, revealing the content beneath. Tinted increases opacity, and adds more contrast. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do this. Okay. Right. I just got done listening to your episode and then saw this. By the way, the NosillaCast episode about all your options with liquid glass across Apple Watch, iOS, Apple TV, Mac is really good, even though they don't have this one option now. Disney leans into patriotism. Oh, we talked about that earlier too. Okay. Oh. Oh, that's just silly. Okay. So there we go. Let's now check the service health. Oh, we haven't got our 145 announcement. Let me refresh. Maybe it's there. Oh, we'll provide another update by 145. They're not. So that either means stuff got worse, but I think if it got worse, we'd know that. People would be talking about it. Or things are going so well, they don't feel the pressure to keep this updated on schedule. And so they're lagging behind by 4 minutes. So I'm going to go with that explanation. It's like things are going so well, they don't feel as much pressure. And they're like, oh, right, we need to do that update to let people know everything's going well. It could also be that they're just waiting to find out, some other last piece of information to put in that update. That happens too. Stay glassy, Apple. Ooh, that would be fun, Nick. Put together a shortwave radio station so we could all listen to the same thing around the world. I mean, you can do it with streaming too, but just the geekiness of it would be fun. All right, that's going to be doing it for me. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out for office hours. This was so much fun. I'm really glad that everybody participated and jumped in and was chatting. Good to see all of you. We had some new faces in there as well, new usernames. Welcome, everybody. And we'll be doing it again tomorrow with some Q&A from the email addresses. Same time, same streaming. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.